Good day everyone, my name is Janoloa. In continuation of the Learn with Peer program for the OWASP Top 10 organized by Diary of Hackers, today we'll be looking at the OWASP Top 10 Day 2 task, which is broken authentication. So for the day 1, we looked at injection vulnerability, which you should have done by now. So moving on to day 2, which is broken authentication, you can go through the guided instruction and read what this is all about. We are made to understand that authentication and social management constitute core components of modern web applications. So basically, most applications we have today, we have some sort of authentication whereby a user has to log in or register to be able to perform different functions. So what are the common attacks against authentication? We have brute force attacks whereby an attacker can be able to guess username and password by running multiple usernames and passwords. You have users using weak credentials, and we have weak session cookies. So there are so many attacks against authentication, and this task is to make us understand this vulnerability and how to exploit them, and most importantly how to guide against them. So moving on to the practical part, we are to exploit a broken authentication on this website provided. So before we do that, we must make sure we are connected to the VPN. So we head over to our terminal. I'm trying to make this a little bigger. Then head over to where you have your VPN file, and you can connect using OpenVPN. So once this is connected, we can go back to the page and click on deploy to make sure the machine is running. So once the machine has been deployed, we can wait for like 2 minutes to make sure everything is set up correctly. So I'm going to sleep for 2 minutes, then ping this machine. So while that is running, look at what this is all about. So as we said before, authentication is a way of verifying a user. So most of the applications we have today, you go to a page, you have a sign up page, a login page, whereby you have to provide your username and password. So that's some sort of authentication. Yeah, so that the site will be able to recognize that you are who you say you are. So now we'll wait for this machine to start, then we'll look at what we have. Let's just head over and see if it's ready to go. Not yet, so we'll give it some time to come up. So now we can confirm the page is up. So I'm going to stop this ping and go back to our web page. From here we are told to go to the IP address, then port 8888 to register a username Darren. We're going to click on this. So now we have the username field, the password field, a sign in button and a register button. Reading what we are told to do again. So let's understand another example. There's an existing user with the name admin wants to get access to their account. Said head over to this page, try to register a username Darren. You'll see that the user already exists. So then try to register a user space Darren. I said that you can now log in. So let's just try that. We'll try to register the username Darren, and we can use any email and any password. Trying to register this, we'll get this user is already registered. Now what we'll try to do is to register with a space before the Darren username. So notice that we have, I'll use 2 spaces. You have 2 spaces, then you have Darren, then I use any email and password of password, which is very secure. Now we'll try to log in using what's registered with 2 spaces, Darren, and the password of password. Doing this, we're able to log in and we can get the false flag. Then we are told to do the same thing for the author user. So we'll log out. Following the same procedure, we'll try to register as the author user. See if we can register as that. Get the same error, users already registered. So we follow the same step. Space author, an email of our choice, and password which is super secure. Then you can try to log in as author and password, and we're able to get the second flag. Now basically that's all for these tags as specified here. So the idea is for us to understand. So let's try to look at how this application actually process commands. So I'm going to open up a note editor, cherry tree. So I'm going to start a new node and call it day 2. Then let me try to bring this up. So what happens is that when we have the username, the user Darren is already registered. So when we send a login request, let me send a register request. So once we register, we registered as 2 spaces, then Darren as the username. But when we try to log in with the same username, space Darren. But what the web application is doing is converting this to mean the same thing as this. So it's taking this input with spaces. One is returning the function, and the backend is removing the spaces and converting it to this. So basically seeing this same thing as this without the spaces. Same thing for the author user. So he's saying space author to be the same thing as author. That means technically you should see space admin to be the same thing as admin. So we can go over and try that out. So now we'll try to register as the admin user. We'll see if that user exists. So try to register as admin, username, email, and any password. Okay, since the user is not registered, so you can just use that. And we get this, you need to log in a specific account because the task requires to be 2 users, which are Darren and author. But we understand the concept of the attack is the page is basically converting a user with spaces to mean the same thing as the same username without spaces. So if the user already exists but you have the same user with spaces, you're just automatically going to remove the spaces and convert it to mean the same user, and that's why it's vulnerable to this broken authentication. So this is going to be the end. It's a very short walkthrough because the challenges are somewhat simple, and that will be all. Thank you, and we hope you keep learning as we go through the meaning of the challenges. Thank you guys. See you some other time.